Hey, how you doing, Cross Training Nation? Coach Masters here with you with this week's Word of the Week from our character playbook, Press Upward. Remember the overall arching theme with Press Upward is forgetting the things that are behind you, reaching forward to the things that are ahead. We press towards the goal, and remember, I know I keep saying this repetitively over and over till you get it. The goal is always love. See, above all, put on love, which brings a bond of perfection to your team. So we want to press towards that goal, and then we get the prize after that. The prize to go to the upward call. We're talking about late in the season now. We're talking about our attitude. That's today's word. And the question is, are you still pressing upward? Are you still putting things behind you and keep moving forward? Well, that's what I encourage you to do. And that's what we're here to do today. I want to do a couple things. We want to try to engage you. We want to try to encourage you. We want to try to equip you and empower you to be the best athlete, best student, best person that you can be. Like I said, this week's word is attitude. Why is attitude so important? It's probably the number one correlation with success, character and attitude together. Like Einstein said, weakness of attitude is weakness of character. Well, let's flip that around. How about strength of attitude brings strength of character? We need athletes of character. We need men and women of character who know what's right and do what's right. And so let's take a look at the definition and we'll get into the word today a little bit more. But attitude. Attitude is an inward mindset expressed by your outward behavior. Here's a simple thing, somebody gives you a directive, you don't like it, and you roll your eyes. That's the outward behavior, what's going on the inside of you. Or you look away when someone corrects you, and then you give them that attitude instead of embracing the correction. So let's get into our belief statements. Remember, it's with our heart that we believe, all right? And so our belief statement is basically our core values. And if attitude is one of your core values, then you know what's right and you do what's right. Remember, attitude is always a choice. It's not a gene, it's a muscle. You got to work at it. You got to flex at it. You got to try to make right decisions all the time. You need to put on certain things so you can have a good attitude. Number one thing you can put on love. Be patient, be kind. But here is our belief statement, our truth statement, our core value statement. Remember this. Do all things without murmuring or complaining, and you will shine like a star in the universe. You see, men and women of attitude, good attitude, positive attitude, they put on love, and they understand that if they murmur or complain, it affects the atmosphere around them. Are you an atmosphere affector in a good way or a positive way? Do you look at the glass half full, or you look at it half empty? I want to hang out with the guys that the glass is half full, that we always got a shot. We fight the good fight. We finish the race. We finish the game. We finish whatever we're doing, whatever we're competing at. And then we keep the faith while we're doing it. So when we're talking about attitude, and we look at that little statement I just said, do all things without murmuring and complaining, right? So what does that look like? Well, let's see how we get tested. So I got a couple props here for you today. When it comes to that, first one's my carrot. And think about a hot, boiling bucket of water right here, all right? And you take this carrot and you stick that thing in the water. What's going to happen to that carrot? Well, first of all, will it do anything to the boiling water? And what does the boiling water represent? It represents adversity. It represents trials. It represents things that happen for you. I didn't say to you, for you. When you get adversity and you embrace it, you have a couple of options after that. Number one, you can be like this carrot, and then you can have self-pity. Self-pity that, I'm not getting my touches, or I'm not getting the ball, or I'm not getting playing time, and the season's dragging, and this isn't really my sport anyway. And we can come up with all these excuses and get a real pitiful attitude. And that pitiful attitude will start to affect everybody. That pitiful attitude is the guy that's always murmuring underneath his breath. Doesn't like what's going on, it's not going his way. That's one thing you could choose to do. The other one, you could be like an egg, right? You drop that in the water, what happens to it? Does it change the water at all? No, it doesn't change the water. The water changes the egg. Do your circumstances change who you are? Like you go out on the streets some night or on the football field and you get a tough circumstance. Does that change the person you are? Or do you have the character to hang on to your core values of who you are? Well, this one here becomes hard-boiled. Gets a hard shell on it. No one wants to eat an egg with a shell on it, all right? Not many people do. That hard shell is like pride, it's arrogance, it's I got the answer, you don't. Coaches don't know what they're talking about. It's your mistake. They're finger pointers. They're finger pointers. You know, pride, hard-boiled egg. Pitiful, carrot. Well, then we have the last part. This is our character person. This is the one I don't want to be around. This is the coffee beans, man. I mean, you put these coffee beans in something, what happens? It changes the water. It makes it taste better. It brings a great aroma. When things are tough, are you the athlete that changes the aroma? Remember, attitude is simply this. Attitude is the smell that comes from your heart. Yeah. What does your heart smell like? What do you smell like? Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Sometimes I have a stinky attitude, and that's the aroma of my heart. That means I need a heart change. I need a heart change. I need to get better thinking. As a person thinks in their heart, so they are. Why is it so important? Because what you think is then what you speak, and then what you speak, you start to act on, and what you act on then becomes your character, and your character then turns into your behavior, and if you got stinking thinking, then you got stinking behavior. Don't be the hard-headed guy throwing the helmet, kicking the bleacher, throwing the water bottle. Be the coffee bean. Make the situation better. You can do that. You can be that star that shines in the universe. And here's the thing, you know what? When it comes to the love aspect of this whole thing, all right? When it comes to love and attitude, love always embraces its role. Love is merciful. It forgives their teammates. It doesn't keep a record of wrong. It doesn't think evil about stuff. It thinks the good things about people. Be that person that looks beyond the color of someone's skin and looks to the heart of who they are and not their outward appearance. See, people with good attitudes, they do that. So, and whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. You know, that guy always holds his head up no matter what. One of our great guys that works for us, Casey Kaz, a great quarterback, you know, has records at Buffalo State, the state championship MVP, says, Coach, the toughest thing to do was when I threw a pick was to keep my head up. He says, it was so hard because I felt like I let my team down. Well, that's where the team steps in, and they come over and you help pick that guy's head up for him. He goes, I did everything I could to keep my head up all the time. He says, but it was really hard. Guys with good attitude, no matter what happens, they run on and off the field or on and off wherever they are with their head up. They are practicing to be ready for the role, and they embrace it, and they're saying to themselves, I get a chance. Not I have to practice, I get to practice. Where are you with that? Let me tell you a great story as we wrap this up today. But I'm going to give you one more truth that's so important. You see, trials and adversities will come. Then your attitude will be tested. Totally tested. The thing is, you know, the bottom line is, will you be pitiful or will you be prideful? Or will you be persevering? See, because perseverance develops character. Character develops hope. Hope, guys. I want to be around hopeful people. Are you a guy that brings hope to your huddle? Brings a hope to your team? Well, people with good attitude, they do that because they understand that life is 10% what happens to them and 90% how you respond. How will you respond? That's so important. Have an attitude of gratitude. Have an attitude of gratitude. Which brings me to my story today, right? It's about this guy named Mac. Mac tried out for his varsity baseball team as a junior, and coach called him in after trials. He said, Mac, you know what, you're really good, not good enough to play, but I'm not going to cut you. You can stay on the team, but you're going to be the kind of the bat boy and get the water and throw bat in practice, hit grounders. You get to wear a uniform. You might pinch run now and then, but you're not going to play, Mac. We got a real good team. It's senior loaded, and we're in a tough league, so the chances you get much playing time are pretty stinking slim to none. Mac went home. He talked about his dad with it, came back on Monday and said, Coach, I'm on the team. I want to be with my friends. You see, that's love. You know, he was like-minded. He wanted to be a part of something bigger than himself. He was not thinking about the name on the back. He was thinking about the name on the front. Love. Mac understood loving his friends, loving his teammates. And the whole year, all Mac did was just cheer his teammates on, do whatever the coach asked him to do, never had a bad attitude. Mac had this one thing, though, that he did. They wore practice pants. He was on the baseball team, and he would pull out, he'd pull out his pocket, and he'd always practice with his pocket out. That was kind of like Mac's little swagger, And so, kind of an odd thing, but something that's really relative to the story. So their team does really well, and Mac's been riding the bench the whole year, and we come to the sectional final game, and Mac, he's sitting on the bench, cheering his teammates on, but his dad came up and spoke to me. He says, Mac's granddad's going to pass away in about maybe 2 or 3 hours, and we're going to have one more shot at seeing him before he passes. He says, I'm going to get a text to say it's all about done. Now that game was about an hour away from that hospice building. So Mr. Garvey said to me, he goes, what do you think? I said, Mr. Garvey, family is always important and number one. I said, I can't make a decision like that for you. He goes, that's good enough for me. About the 5th inning, they get a text, and Mac's granddad was about to pass. So he went over to the dugout, he got a hold of Mac. Mac went to his coach, he embraced his coach, the coach knew the situation, and Mac flew to get to the car. At that time, the Redskins were losing 1-0 in the 5th inning. But when Mac left, every head on that bench turned towards Mac. The guy that had never played, the guy that never pinched ran a little bit, but got no time, was really not a great contributor, anything physically on the field. But oh, did he create and contribute to their heart? Did he bring a passion? Was he a star, shining in the darkness when things are tough? Every athlete on that team took their back pocket and pulled it out of their pocket for Mac. They were playing for something bigger than themselves. They were playing for a young man who had a great attitude. They went on the 6th inning to tie the game, and in the 7th inning, they went on to win it. I text Mr. Garvey, hey, Redskins 2, Niagara Falls 1. Wow, what a story, but it goes bigger than that. When they went to take the sectional championship picture, all the athletes still had their pocket out. They still had it out. They took the picture with Mac in mind. Not only that, though, it gets even bigger. That next Monday, the sports newspaper comes in from our town, and they take a picture of Mac right here. Yeah, this is Mac. He's the guy holding the glove. You see the guys behind him? Those are the captains of the team, and every one of them had their pocket out. Here's what the statement says: Lancaster goes to bat for their teammate. All those seniors played for something bigger than themselves. What's your attitude like? Are you a Mac Garvey? I don't know. I never got my picture on the front news of the Buffalo Evening News sports page, but Mac did. And how did he do it? With a great attitude. What's your attitude like today? Are you the person that's going to persevere and fight the good fight, finish the race, keep the faith? Are you going to battle? Are you going to be that guy? Where does that come from? It comes from love. See, love is always the key thing. A person who understands about esteeming and loving others better than themselves will always have a great attitude because they realize it's not about them. What's it about? Well, the bottom line is you will shine like a star in the universe when you understand that love never fails and that love is about other people and not about you. Hey, looking forward to seeing you next week, but I encourage you right now to connect 3 with your teammates. Reach out, give them a good handshake. Look them in the eye and say, we are going to shine like a star in the universe because love never fails. Hey, we'll see you next week right here with Cross Training Athletics and Press Upward.